question. How do you color Warframe's Tennokan pistol? You of course have to use Athodai. Welcome to another Off the Meta build, and I'm here to present my own spin on that Tennokan pistol, the Athodai. Of course, I'm a little late to the game on this because, hey, naturally I had to work both the day of Tennokan and the day after and the day after and well, the rest of that week. The Athodai is a really interesting gun. It's got a headshot buff similar to the Nell in the dual Toxicist that gives it 8 seconds of free fire. It also has a secondary fire that blasts 24 rounds, usually the whole clip, of a cone with increased status. I'm gonna pair this with a couple of other items. Don't worry, I'm putting the Athodai first so you can watch the build and bounce pad if you like. Otherwise, stick around for some pro Steel Path strats. Also, maybe do the YouTube stuff, or don't, I'm not your infested mother. Starting off with the Athodai, it's going to be a pretty easy to understand build. I'm going for a mix of crit and status because I mostly want to use the secondary fire. Listen, the primary fire is neat and all, and that bonus is nice, but I like the cone more. So first off, Hornet Strike for damage, Barrel Diffusion for multi-shot and also known as damage. Then I've got Primed Crit Twins, Primed Pistol Gambit, and Primed Target Cracker. Next is going to be Primed Heated Charge. Since the weapon has base heat damage, this only serves to boost that damage further. It also serves to manipulate which statuses you want to use. Next, 2 60-60 mods. It doesn't matter which one you use. Corrosive Heat for Grenier, Just Gas or Gas and Shock for Infested, and Magnetic Heat for Corpus. Lastly, there's a flex slot. Sure, you could throw in more damage, but honestly, I don't know if this gun really needs it. Instead, I'm throwing in Primed Slip Magazine. This allows for a smaller cone burst in case you need a little extra before reloading. Lastly, Pistol Ammo Mutation, or Primed Pistol Ammo Mutation in the last spot. This is a really ammo-hungry build and usage methodology, so this is pretty much needed. So who's going to be wielding this new little bit of kit? Vauban is, of course, and he's going to have a much different build than my shield generator build. Well, maybe not much different, but it is different. Starting from the top, Steel Charge. Technically speaking, you can use just about any aura, but this is somewhat important for the next tool after Vauban is done. In the extra slot is Preparation. If you don't know what this does, it immediately starts you off with a completely filled energy tank. Well, assuming you have it maxed out. This is pretty handy. Next is going to be Duration mods. Primed Continuity, Augur Message, and Constitution, boosting duration by 207%. Then Range, Augur Reach, and Overextended. Of course, you can use Stretch instead of Augur Reach if you really want to. Energy Economy is going to be boosted by Streamlined. Primed Flow is of course going in here because having a bunch of energy to utilize is going to be really nice to have, especially with Preparation. Last mod slot should be whatever you want to use for defense. Personally, I'm using Primed Vigor. You can use Redirection if you want, or even Quick Thinking, although I don't like sacrificing energy for defense. The last key part of this build is a Zaw melee weapon. Doesn't matter which one it is, but you'll want one with a lot of critical chance and probably high damage, or at least the standard damage. No sense sacrificing damage for speed. After you've got your Zaw all combined and gilded and all that, throw in a stance mod and get started. You'll also want one more special ingredient, Exodia Brave. I showcase it in my Atlas Balboa build. Kill something with a heavy attack and you get some energy as a reward. Now, if you've got your own heavy attack build, go ahead and use that. If you don't, then listen on in for how I do it. Starting out, Triple P or Primed Pressure Point, then Organ Shatter for crit damage, Sacrificial Steel for crit chance, or if you've got a Riven with the crit chance in it, you can substitute that instead. You'll get enough crit chance for a guaranteed crit on your heavy attack either way. Killing Blow for that boosted damage. Berserker for some increased melee speed on repetitive strikes, although you can easily swap this out for more damage. Corrupt Charge for the guaranteed 2x multiplier for the heavy attacks. After that, you have 2 flex slots for elemental damage. Personally, I'd suggest Primed Future Strike, and then either Voltaic Strike or some other 60-60 to take advantage of your enemy's weakness. So, there's a couple of handy tools up in here. How are they going to be used? Well, it's quite simple, really. Drop Vortex, drag the enemies in, and then use the secondary fire of the Athodai into the crowd. If you start running low on energy, throw a heavy melee attack into the enemies or heavy slam into someone between objectives to fill your tanks back up before continuing to throw more vortexes and spewing more cone damage into the crowd. The Athodai strips armor or shields beautifully. If you need to gun down a nullifier shield from a distance, you can do that too, all with the same weapon. The best thing is, this leaves your primary weapon completely empty and free for leveling or some other type of niche. Coming up with this build was a frantic mad dash of desperate forma usage combined with the need to do some solo interception missions in Steel Path. Interception missions in Steel Path is a complete shit show. There's so many damn enemies, they're just everywhere, and they're tanky as well, so chewing through them is just that much more difficult. It's a complete pain in the ass. Until I decided to cheese it with Vauban, because really that's all you need to do with Steel Path. Find the cheese method. I've used this build in interception, defense, mobile defense, extermination, and sabotage. It works for everything. With all of that out of the way, watch the TennoCon reruns, get hyped about Deimos, start building extra warframes, throw a black hole, execute a stray enemy, and spew a cone of energy into the enemies. And if anyone lives, well,
You should have gone for the head.